Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, episode 24. Tonight, we're talking SNES Online updates, Mario 3D World's release, and what are our favorite relaxing games on the Switch. That and more. Alrighty, I am joined tonight by my fellow Nintendo pal, Micah.
Yep.
And we are joined tonight by extra special guest, well, tonight for you, extra special guest, Sean Abbot from DadCrossing, a Nintendo
Good
Dad
evening, gentlemen.
Animal Crossing podcast.
Yeah, well, we kind of, as the Animal Crossing news started to slow down a little bit, we first touched on a little bit of parenting, and we got quite good feedback from that. So we tried to make that now a part of the show. So the Nintendo does used to do it in the Wii U days when there wasn't really much use with the Wii U, so we kind of pinched that tidbit. And yeah, it's mixed with the dad joke thing was really funny that we did on the last episode. So yeah, we're just trying as best to help fellow dads, because there's a lot of support out there sometimes, especially in the UK for mums and stuff. So dads tend to get overshadowed. So it's nice to have a good chat about it every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great podcast. I've been listening to you guys since you started, and man, it's great. We followed your journey from Animal Crossing starting, big huge boom, and now it's in a little bit of a slower state, but coming up on the first year anniversary for the game, so that's pretty exciting.
We have some really big updates coming out, so the Mario one and Pave Day, which is dropping what day, 15th. So that's Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's when this episode should be out today. So check out that update. Well, awesome. And we were talking a little bit before the show about weather. It's nice and sunny where I am. Well, not really. It's cloudy. It's nice weather out. How are things in your necks of the woods?
In the UK at the moment, it's cold. It's been cold for about a week, like really cold. Like we've, I think certain parts of the UK hit -20 overnight yesterday night.
Yeah, that's rough.
And the River Thames, which this is quite a historical thing, the River Thames is frozen over for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
I believe. So, or is it the first time in history? I can't remember. Oh, for a while anyway. It was a quick bit of news I read while I was at work before I came home, and yeah, the River Thames is frozen over.
Man, that's it's cold time when the rivers are freezing over. I'm very glad I live in closer to the equator than I used to. It's nice to not. I haven't missed snow yet since coming here, but maybe give it another couple of years and I'll be like, man, I want like some snow.
Yeah, I think it's been about like 40 degrees during the day here, so not too bad. But there's a winter storm warning advisory for this weekend. So I think supposedly it's like the first in 7 years. Don't know if that's even true. I think I read that somewhere. But yeah, should get quite a bit of snow if we haven't had in a while.
Man, just stay off the roads, I guess. It seems like everybody forgets how to drive.
Especially because I live kind of on top of a hill, so you just got to be prepared to not be able to make it back if you leave.
That's true. Michael lives on the sledding hill. That we had some pretty fun adventures in our school days out there. Someone else built a ramp, right?
I'm actually pretty sure we built the ramp and then forgot about it.
And then we did.
And maybe it was someone else.
I don't know what it's usually called, but we called it a sled train, and we had like each like legs, and we'd link arms in a train with all of our sleds, and the result was what in Idaho they call a yard sale.
Six broken legs.
Yeah, because I mean it was one of it was pretty big storm, snowed a lot, and then at one point it heated up during the day just a little bit above freezing, melted that top layer, and then it refroze overnight. So it's just like a sheet of ice down this hill. So we got going pretty fast.
Yeah, we all unanimously, if I remember correctly, screamed "Not the bump"
Yeah.
as we hit it and just exploded. Good times. Well, with that awesome crash of a transition, let's move to our first segment of our show, to the to Whatcha Playin. I'm still getting used to. I've switched the segments around. So, Sean, you want to start off with what have you been playing lately in the realm of gaming?
In the realm of, is this all realm of gaming, or do you want
All
to stick
realm,
to
yeah,
just
yeah.
Nintendo?
Yeah, you can go.
Well,
Oh yeah, all right.
As you listen quite regularly to our podcast, you know I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Warzone. I've been doing a couple of streams of that, a few test ones, and then about a week ago I did an hour-long one, and middle of last week I did a 2-hour-long stream, just of a couple of matches, and I was joined with one of my friends for that. So that's pretty good. I mean, I kind of dropped out of Warzone at first when it was released, and then for some strange reason I've got back into it, and I've got back into it quite heavily. So, been playing that, playing Little Nightmares. When our podcast comes out tomorrow, you'll know that I had it downloaded, and well, it won't be tomorrow when this is released. So Saturday, our podcast comes out. You'll hear me that I mentioned that I had it downloaded from Games of Gold, ready to play, in light of the second one coming out for the Switch. I'm enjoying that. That's quite a creepy, scary, quite a tense, side-scrolling 2D, 3D kind of game to play.
I haven't tried Little Nightmares, but it doesn't look like my kind of game. It looks very scary, but also like kind of cutesy at the same time. It's like a
it starts off
at Little Big Planet.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. There's no tutorial to the game, so you're learning everything on the run. But yeah, it's a really nice interactive environment. So there's certain things that you have to like push and pull, a bit of a puzzle solver, and then as well as having to run away from people that are trying to catch this little child. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. My eldest daughter, she really enjoys the horror games, so I've kind of mentioned it to her because it's free at the moment to download it and give it a go. So it's not violent; it's just creepy. So I'm quite happy for her to play that.
Yeah.
Good parenting. Scare your kids a little bit.
Well, she's nothing like her mum. Her mum cannot do. She hates horror. So
yeah, I'm that way.
See, I grew up with it. My mum raised me on things like Hellraiser and Jason and all the greats.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the only other thing really that I've been playing, other than Animal Crossing, of course, is trying to get my island ready for the snow disappearing. I'm kind of eyeing up Bowser's Fury. So I'm toying with that at the moment. It's one of those that I only tend to buy one game every other month or so. So it's kind of like, do I want to spend the money on this game, or do I want to wait a little bit and see what the feedback is from others? So, because I never played it when it was an original release. So.
Oh man, then that's a must get. My opinion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, especially the last level.
Yeah, Mike had the Wii U version. He has not picked up the Switch one. I've picked up the Switch one, and I got to play it a little bit before we started recording. But it was mostly my son was playing, so I was just kind of doing the co-op with him. He loves it. It's a great family co-op game. So if your kids are into Mario at all, that's one I recommend.
Yeah, my youngest enjoys it. So not my youngest, but my youngest daughter. So I've got 3 kids. So she enjoys Mario platforming. I'll have a look at it when we get off. Because after this, it's going to sit down with the wife and watch something on telly for a little bit. So I'll probably set it downloading.
Nice. Well, anything else you wanted to hit on that you've been playing?
That kind of sums up it at the moment. Between work and like we're still in lockdown, so trying to spend some time with the kids and get out and about and be active. I haven't really played a lot at the moment. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it transitions well to me for so right before we were recording, I got to play about 20 minutes of the game. We picked it up from our local GameStop, and so I got these really nice posters. Yeah, you guys hear that jet go cruising over me right
Yeah.
now? I got these really nice posters. Actually, hold on just a sec. I'll see if I can snap. Ugh. They are really, really pretty cool. So for those watching the video, they've got
Oh wow.
the gang on Plessy, and then they've got the. This is what I got it for: the Bowser's Fury
Yeah.
cover art. I when I saw this promo art originally when they announced it, I was like, I want a poster of that. And then GameStop was like, pre-order bonus, you get a Bowser's Fury poster. I'm like, sold, sold.
Therefore, they've been really nice. If you know that they can sometimes do that 3D effect with posters, where you move the image alters.
yeah.
If
Oh
they'd
yeah,
done it where Bowser disappeared and reappeared, that'd have been
That'd be
that's
cool.
that would have been
frame it and hang it on the wall.
yeah. So I got to find frames that'll fit these, and we're gonna put them up on our. We are starting a Nintendo room, so we've got. Yeah, I'm excited for that. The game itself runs a lot faster than it did on the Wii U. I have not played the Wii U version for quite some time, but I noticed right away, wow, this game's moving pretty quick. I didn't get to try Bowser's Fury yet, but by the time this releases, I'll probably have sunk quite a bit of time into Bowser's Fury. But so far, yeah, we've played some co-op with my son, and we are both having a blast playing through Mario 3D World. Very excited to dive more into that. Maybe I'll be putting up a review or let's play of some kind on our YouTube channel for Bowser's Fury. Besides that, yesterday I was convinced to download and play Valheim. Valheim? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which best way I could describe it is like a game that would fall somewhere in between Minecraft and Skyrim. So it's a survival game that's like Nordic and kind of looks Skyrim-y and has the Skyrim style fighting and leveling up, but you have crafting and building, like kind of like Minecraft. Not nearly as extensive as like the block placements for Minecraft, but like you build walls and fortifications and craft boats and things. It's a early access game. Is that right, Micah?
Yeah, I think it released the 2nd February.
Yeah. So
early access.
our buddy Eli got into it and was like, "You guys need to get this game." And so for $20, holy cow, this is quite a lot to this game, and it's a very fun cooperative multiplayer game.
Yeah, what's normally really nice with early access games is they start to just add things, so you get quite a lot of game for your money as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it makes them a lot more like replayable, I guess. They add more stuff in.
Yeah, typically with an early access game, you kind of expect there to be a little bit of a jankiness to it, but that's not the case with this game. I think it definitely doesn't feel like a AAA game. It lacks that like super polish, but it as like an indie title, I'm like kind of blown away by how well the game plays, and we really experienced like no glitches other than some server side stuff where Micah was like a full minute behind me in what was happening on the game. So we're talking because we're on a Discord call, me and him were playing, and he's like, I'm like, where are you at? He's like, I'm standing right next to you, and I'm on my screen. I can't see him or anything, and it shows him on the map swimming out in the middle of the water towards me. And I was like, no, it shows you out in the ocean. He's like, no, I'm trying. He's like, do any of the doors work for you?
Yeah, I couldn't open any of the doors to get into the house.
And then I watch as his player character comes on and then goes to every single door and opens and closes the door several times because he was delayed on the screen, so the doors weren't actually working for him because it's my hosted world. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's the only time we experienced anything like that. There was maybe some fights with enemies where that got a little delayed, but nothing like that. And so, yeah, definitely recommend picking that one up if you're looking for a co-op game. And let's see, besides that, I am still playing Panel de Pong, and I've switched to the versus mode, which also has like a story mode to it. And there is a code you can enter in to play in super hard mode. And I'll just say I'm on stage 5 and I've died about 30 times. So it's pretty difficult. But very fun. Yeah, I don't know why I've just gotten hooked into Panel de Pon. I want that series to come back, man. It needs to. They had a localized version called Tetris Attack, which used Yoshi characters instead of like fairies and original characters that are in the Japanese version of the game. And then it also kept going as a series with Pokemon Puzzle League, used the same mechanics. But we haven't had a new game in Pokemon Puzzle League or anything using the switching square stuff for a while. Bring it back, Nintendo. I'm addicted. Yeah, let's see. Besides that, I played some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online. My younger siblings that are still at home with my parents, they got a Switch for Christmas. All of us older siblings pitched in. I come from a really large family, so my youngest sibling's like, let's see, he's 6 now. So,
yeah, they all had to pitch in like $4 or something to get it.
No, not that many, but quite a few. And so they have been playing with us online Mario Kart. We get on as a family because all of us have that game, and we're trying to help my mom through figuring out the parental controls so she can so the kids can play Minecraft with us because she's accidentally locked herself out. So yeah, it's pretty fun trying to tech support the Switch remotely. It just doesn't work.
No.
But
no, I can imagine that's really difficult, especially when there's the options for things aren't quite always where they seem as well with the Switch.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's it for me. That's primarily what I've been playing. I have been, yeah, I'm really excited to jump more into Mario and Valheim. These seem very different games, but both are very fun. Micah?
Yeah, I haven't played too many games. Most of it is my time has gone into Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Now gotten 5 of the 7 crystal stars. Still having a blast with that. Besides that, I've, like Andrew mentioned, I've played some Valheim with them for a few hours. And just a little Panel de Pong, I guess, and that's it.
Yeah. I do gotta say, for Valheim, it's the first time in a while that I've completely lost track of what time it was while playing.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often for me because I usually am trying to keep my schedule pretty.
Yeah, I remember there's one point where it's like, I better go to bed pretty soon, and then it was like 2 hours later. By the time we got off.
A classic, just one more game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like looked at the clock while playing, and was like, oh my goodness, it's like an hour past when I said I was gonna stop. And then I played another hour. So
Yeah. That's when there's I did have just one little gripe, and that was when I was being chased by a massive troll, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna run away by swimming, because I'm assuming they can't swim very well. I don't know why I was thinking that, but apparently the water's not deep enough for them to have to swim, so they just ran after me out into the ocean, and you swim slower than you can walk, so he just walked up to me and beat me to death in one hit with a log, and then he just sat there on my dead body loot, and I ended up dying like 4 more times trying to get my stuff back.
And we were pretty far away from where we originally spawned, unfortunately.
Yeah. It took me like 8 minutes to run there every time.
Weren't we in like the second area? Like, you're not supposed to go there till you fight It's
some
open
other
world, so you
boss
can go
first.
wherever you want. But everything there was much harder than it should be for a beginner like us.
Yeah, we
Getting
messed up.
one hit by almost everything. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anything else you wanted to highlight? I was going to ask, is this your, how many times have you played through Thousand Year Door?
I think this is my third. The first time in like 10 years, though.
Nice.
See, I missed the entire Wii U era, which sometimes I'm glad I missed it, but then I look back and I think there's games that I wish I'd have played or I wish I had access to play. There's a couple of Zelda ones that I missed between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess to Breath of the Wild, and then things like that, Mario Thousand Year Door, and
that was on
what's
GameCube.
the other one I wish I'd have played? Was that
Yeah, that was GameCube. Yeah, it's unfortunate like the GameCube and Wii U sold so poorly because I think they have some of the best games.
It's true. Yeah, that's why they're porting everything to the Switch.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a good earner for them to be porting it to the Switch.
Yeah, so we're gonna be snagging a Wii U next week. My son is getting one for his birthday. Which he doesn't know that yet, so very excited for that. And I was eyeballing a lot of Wii U games that I missed, like the Zelda ones you're talking about, Sean. But I'm like, I'm fairly confident they're going to port those. And I think I'd rather have it on the Switch. So, I don't know.
It's a big gamble of what they will port.
I know, it's like, what do I buy on the
so many rumors.
Yeah, if they don't port it by the end of their Zelda anniversary, probably not going to port it.
Right. But if they don't, it's a missed opportunity. Those are some great games. So I'll be excited to see what they do.
If they could do what they did to Link's Awakening, to things like A Link Between Worlds and the one on the SNES, if they could do those, my word, Nintendo can just take all my money if they keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah. There's also been a lot of people asking for the Game Boy, the Oracle of Seasons
and Ages
to get remade with that style. It's really pretty looking game. So I think it would look. I hope they reuse that engine some more.
It was the first time I ever fully completed Link's Awakening was on the remaster for the Switch, so I very much enjoyed it.
Nice. It's one I've been keeping an eye out for a sale, because it doesn't seem like it's like quite long enough to be a full $60, but I don't know.
Depends on how you play it. If you want to go for like full completionist and do all the little sidey bits and find everything, then it's quite worth it. So some of the dungeons require quite a bit of patience and thinking through, so it's good.
To keep an eye out for that one. Yeah. All the Zelda games.
When I'm a little less broke, maybe. I have to be very selective with what what games I get.
Yeah, as he buys Valheim on a whim.
Yeah, it was only $20 though.
Yeah, I can't convince him to buy anything. But Eli has magic convincing powers.
That's because Eli convinces me to get like $20 games. You're trying to convince me to buy a $60 game.
That's a difference. Yeah. You can get 3 Valheims for 1 Link's Awakening.
Exactly.
That's very true.
And one of them was Hades, so.
I've not played that yet. That's one that I'm looking at getting as well. A lot of people have given good feedback on that. So
yeah, I would say it's probably a little overhyped.
I'd say it lives up to the hype.
I got this
I just disagree with you right off the bat. No, I think it's a great game.
Yeah, it is very good.
It might have gotten too overhyped with how it blew up and became like a Game of the Year contender and all this stuff. I mean, it deserves it. It's a great game, but don't go in expecting Breath of the Wild. That's what I say.
Yeah. Once you break out the first time, it actually just turns into a Breath of the Wild sort of game.
Yeah, it's just an open world 3D. That would be
what a
cool.
twist that would be.
an open
Maybe
world
future
beat 'em up like
DLC.
that. Yeah. Well, let's jump over into the next segment of our show, which is the Nintendo news. And we have quite a bit in the realm of news this week. And we're going to dip a little bit into like not Nintendo, but kind of into Nintendo news. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But first off, I wanted to mention, because I thought this was pretty cool, video game music researcher, which is the title that I saw reported. Video game music researcher restores the original Super Mario World music from the GigaLeaks that were done, and meaning it took out a lot of the not took out, but they found all the original sound files and compiled them onto modern machines that can play the music without compression, and it is very different sounding.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listened to any of those.
I listened to a few minutes and I was like, wow, this is like almost completely different.
Yeah.
No, I've not heard that or seen that, so I'd be very interested because I like to listen to like the Super Mario Overworld stuff. I like the orchestrated ones while I'm driving, which is quite weird, but they're quite soothing to drive to.
These sound. I hope I'm not going to sound too negative, because I think maybe I'm tainted a little bit by nostalgia, because Super Mario World's like one of my favorite games ever. I prefer the original soundtracks, so these kind of sound weird to me. They almost sound like royalty-free computer versions of the same songs, because it uses these like kind of computery sounding instruments that, when they were compressed and put on the Super Nintendo, have a very chiptune sound to them, sound much more video gamey, where these sound kind of not. I don't know if that makes any sense.
So I'm assuming these are the songs from off the SNES, aren't they? The first,
yes,
that one, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I can imagine I wouldn't want those to be ruined, because that was a lot of my childhood as well.
Yeah, and there were some songs that sounded just like so different. They definitely changed up a lot in order to get it to fit onto an SNES card. And those are interesting when the song's like almost completely different. Like the Athletic theme had a very, very old-timey piano sound to it. And that sounds kind of cool. It sounds almost like something that would be in Super Smash Bros. Covering the song from the game. You know how they like to do tons of remixes. So it sounds good. It's just, I'm glad we got what we got.
It's
Well, is there a link to these anywhere that we can? Ooh. So if anybody listening can find it.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description of the podcast, and yeah, I'll post that out on our Discord as well. So yeah, I don't think I shared that in the news feed, so I'll do that there. In addition to that, we've got, while we're on the topic of SNES, there were new games announced for SNES Online and Game for NES Online. So we've got Psycho Dream, Doomsday Warrior, and that one's in all caps. Doomsday Warrior.
This sounds very exciting.
And Prehistoric Man for the SNES. And then on the NES, you got Fire and Ice. I have not heard of any of these games before.
I was going to say, I'm like, nope.
Me neither.
Can't remember those.
This is interesting, and I wanted to hear what your guys' thoughts were on this. It seems like every time they've put out a new batch of SNES games and NES games, there's a big hitter in there. Donkey Kong Country. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones.
Smash Tennis.
Yeah. But they usually have like one game in there that everybody, that's a name drop that everybody recognizes it, and then there's like 4 or 5 that you've never heard of before, right?
Yeah, this selection sounds like the Lost Catalog.
yeah, that's what I was saying. This one doesn't have any heavy hitter names. It's just all obscure.
Yeah, but who knows? They might be great.
Yeah,
well, the
true.
thing is, like, they still are missing some games that make a lot of sense to put on. Now, there's
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yes.
I'm gonna put that.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
one of my favorite SNES games growing up.
there's games like that and like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy that are owned by different companies, and I can see why those don't make it because they're probably like, well, no, we're just gonna put it in our own collection, and they'll pay us directly instead of you paying us, and they get it for free. So for games like that, it stinks, but it makes sense from the business side. But what about Earthbound?
Yep.
Nintendo owns that one. I don't understand why that one's not on there. Or Mother on the NES. I I I just don't get it. I don't understand why those aren't.
Nintendo just makes interesting decisions in regards to those games. I
Yeah,
feel.
the Mother series is a neglected child of the Nintendo family. Right up there with F-Zero.
Yeah.
F-Zero gets more love than Mother, though. I'll don't say that much.
I haven't been on the SNES online for a while. Is F-Zero out there yet, or is that still one that's waiting to creep out?
I
I
don't
think
so.
it's on there.
So they're missing a trick with that one as well.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that they have Gradius on the NES, but they don't have Gradius 3 on the SNES, which is like one of my favorite spaceship shooters. And of course, Plock.
Yeah, I don't think we need that though.
They're doing all these deep cuts of games no one's ever heard of. Put the one that I want.
The one you want that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, the game no one's ever heard of that I want. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I don't know what you guys think. Do you guys think this is the end with these kinds of games being announced, or do you think there will be more? They just they're not coming monthly anymore. They're random drops, and now they're out of big name.
I don't know, because there is still big name games that they can use. So is it a case of the COVID and having to try and port them across to digital is quite a difficult process when you can't have a lot of people working on it at the same time? And they wanted to make sure that the games that they do bring across work correctly, because I can imagine that there's quite a bit of debugging to do with the code and stuff like that to try and get it to run, especially adding things like save states and stuff. So
yeah, and the online multiplayer capabilities as well. Yeah, that's true. What are your thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, well, kind of the same. I don't think they're done. I'm hoping they're not done with bigger name games as well. But I mean, a few of these games I haven't heard of have been hidden gems to me. So I'll still give them a try, and hopefully they're good.
Yeah, that's true. Well, with that, I guess we'll move to the next news item, which is that E3 is apparently coming back as an all-digital event, where it straight out canceled last year. They didn't do anything, and game critics and influencers and gamers alike were all scrambling to figure out what's coming out, when's it coming, and watching all these events in all sorts of different places that lasted for what felt like years instead of a 3-day event. But E3 is supposedly coming back, and it will be an all-digital event June 15th through the 16th. But my question is, who's going to be there? Because PlayStation pulled out before E3 was even a thing last year. It seems like everybody kind of did their own digital events last year. And before that, people were already kind of pulling away from E3 as being like the primary news and game announcement delivery mechanism. So do you guys think that a lot of companies are going to participate in it? Because it doesn't sound like that's what's happening.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to, like I say, to see who does go. I'd hope the big games try, because obviously missing it last year, there's a lot of revenue that they potentially missed out on not having the event where they can showcase big things. I thought we might have seen, if E3 wasn't cancelled, we might have seen a few more. It's just game software from things like Xbox that's going to be coming out along with the Series X this year, which obviously they couldn't showcase. So yeah, it'd be nice to see them making the effort to attend and showing that they're willing to work in a diverse situation, like with the pandemic and not being able to have large crowds gathered and things like that. So it'd be a good show for the gaming industry to do that.
I just hope that as many people or companies like attend, I guess, so that I don't have to look a million different places for all my gaming news. I like just getting it all from E3.
Yeah, that's definitely something I noticed this last time. It was like it felt like everybody did theirs sporadically. For me, as a Nintendo only kind of guy, it wasn't a super big deal but if something got announced for the Switch in a separate conference and not in a Nintendo announcement, I wouldn't see it. Yeah, having it all condensed is nice for the collective audience, but I think business wise, these guys don't want to all pay buco bucks to have a spot in a conference that is now all digital and was canceled last year, and a lot of people are like wondering, why do we still do it?
Yeah,
Especially with
bigger risk.
Yeah, it was successful last year in everybody kind of doing their own thing. Jeff Keighley has already said he will not be participating in the E3 event, and I believe PlayStation has already said they're not participating. So Jeff Keighley not participating is a big name to pull out from E3, and that's, I don't know, I just don't think it bodes well for it as a thing.
No, but am I right in believing we're like a year and a half since the last like big Nintendo Direct?
Yes,
It's been a while, hasn't it? So
last mainline.
Yeah. So I mean, we're due something like that. Whether or not they hold out, and because the bigger names are pulling out of a digital E3, they kind of showcase and kind of make it their event.
Yes.
That'd be good. Nintendo Gate Crashes E3.
Yeah. I mean, no one would be there to steal their thunder.
They're the ones that bring it back to life. That would be pretty hilarious. Ironic, because they were also like one of the first ones
to leave
and do like an all digital E3 event. Yeah, they were ahead of the curve on that stuff. They were already doing that, and then last year everybody started doing it, and they stopped.
Yeah, then they just started shadow dropping things.
Now they're like, we're just gonna post a video and blow up the internet every time we do something.
Which technically, sorry. Every time me and Nick do an episode saying what we'd like to see next, because like there's rumors of stuff being dropped for Animal Crossing, and like we record for Tuesday morning for me, Monday night for Nick. Literally, I get a message as Nick wakes up the Wednesday morning. Have you seen the video? And he posted me a link to YouTube, and it's like, we have to do something now in reaction to that. And it's always because you guys mentioned it that you record on a Friday because you tend not to get much news over a weekend. So it's like, maybe Nick should start doing that. Maybe we should like wait until the Friday, wait so they can like sweep it out from under his feet. And
I know, yeah, I'm hopeful that that's the case, because already like this episode, we got our copy of Mario 3D World, and I wanted to have more playthrough under my belt before getting to talk about it here. But it's just not happening. We're recording earlier than normal to account for Sean being not having to stay up super late for us, which we appreciate. Yeah. Appreciate you coming on. But yeah, it's like, once you're trying to do like game coverage and stuff, it feels like everything times just wrong when you're making a video or making a podcast.
Yes, we were lucky with the Pave one because it was the video came early enough for us to do a reaction to it in our usual schedule. So, and for it to drop 2 days before the actual event starts. So, yeah, we did well with that one. But where others, it's kind of like, oh, available from today, and it's like, oh god. So
yeah. Yes. So I'm hopeful that we see something come out of this E3 coming back
Like
announcement.
a Prime 4 announcement
That would be
coming
cool.
October 14th.
Maybe Nintendo will finally do a big direct. I'm
I mean,
thinking they need to
just
do after come. Let's see that everything's getting Thanos snapped the 31st of March for Mario, right? Everything's disappearing.
yeah,
So some time either in the end of March or early April, we should be getting what I'm expecting is a Zelda 35th direct of some kind.
with hopefully, like I'm with you with the Metroid stuff. I want some. I want me some wet Metro re-release and a new Metroid game to play.
Yeah, I just need like any news. I'll take another like the first reveal, just the logo.
An
Will get me
updated
super
logo.
hyped.
Yeah. It's an updated PNG.
It's actually still in development.
Yeah.
I was telling Micah, our top performing episodes for our podcast have been the ones with Metroid in the title. Like everybody's desperate for that Metroid news, man.
Yeah, all the Metroid, especially Metroid Prime fans, are just desperate for any sort of news.
Yeah,
I'm right
there. The last Metroid game I played was the ones on the Wii. That was it. I haven't played anything since then. So if there was any that came out on the Wii U, I missed those completely.
There wasn't. Don't worry.
Yeah,
that's okay. Cool. So, I mean, I've even got back to the point where like I've emulated. I got a Game Boy Advance emulator for my phone to emulate like the Game Boy Advance ones to go back that far and replay those. And
yeah.
The last one I played is actually on the Wii U Virtual Console. I don't even remember exactly which one. I think it might have been Super Metroid. Just when the Wii U like first came out, they had some event where you could get one game a month for like 30 cents. And I'm getting that and Balloon Fight, Punch Out. Those had to tide us over for a while because there weren't a lot of games at the start. In fact, actually,
a cool thing, though, man. Yeah,
I managed to loop the score in Balloon Fight. I had so little else to do. that became one of my goals. I probably put like 15 hours into Balloon Fight just to try and loop the score without
and those were the days as a Nintendo fan where there was so little to play that you played literally everything, even Balloon Fight.
And they were great though.
Yeah. I was going to jump over to this. Have you guys seen reviews for the Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury?
The only bit that I've seen for it is literally Marty's Facebook post saying that he will not be available for the weekend, and if you need anything, to leave a message and he'll get back to you. That's the only stuff I've seen because I kind of want to stay away from it.
Yeah, Marty over with the Nintendo dads, which we're gonna have him on the show at some point. He's reached out and wants to be on. So, but
he's a great character to have on.
He says this is the best 3D Mario game of all time. So he's gone for the next few days.
That's bold, even better than Odyssey and Galaxy.
That's his opinion.
Paper Mario is also kind of a 3D-ish.
Well, we're talking. So since we're talking about opinions that might get some backlash, Mario 3D World got just IGN got raked through the coals with their review, which gave the game a 7 out of 10. And I don't know the reviewer specifically who reviewed. I don't know who reviewed it specifically. I obviously don't know him personally. But yeah, all these places were like, it scored a 9.6 when it originally released on the Wii U, and it has more content, and now it scores a 7. And there's just all sorts of like online backlash to that because they're an outlier as far as scores for this game goes. If you look at a total list of a lot of the big ones like Metacritic, Game Explained, Nintendo Life. They all gave it pretty high scores, and 7 is still pretty high, I'd say. But by comparison to 9s and 10s across the board, it looks low. And people are like, see, IGN's broken and scoring shouldn't be a thing. Lots of complaining. But where I was going with this, what are your guys' thoughts on it? Because I'm of the opinion that it's an opinion and it shouldn't be, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the standard for games has risen since those came out. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. But I still think they're great games. But yeah, it's just an opinion. Some people are going to like them and some aren't.
Yeah, it also depends on, I guess, what the reviewer was hoping to get from the game. So if they played the original one and really liked the original one, and they're playing this one and it's like, well, it's pretty much the same, and they've really not spiced anything up for the part across, they might have that wave of disappointment, which could have lowered the score and made their opinion not as great as it could have been. So, and again, an opinion. I'd rather have an honest opinion where if they've given it a 7 and everyone else has given it a 9.6, you can then think to yourself, oh, it'll be somewhere in the middle. So
yeah. Although who knows, maybe it's something they've played before and they're just riding that wave of nostalgia, playing it again, giving it a higher score than they would if it came out for the first time today.
Yeah, and it begs the question, do ports get reviewed as... Should they be reviewed as a port, or should they be reviewed as a standalone game? It gets into gray area, and personally, I don't think there's a standard, and there needs to be a standard for how reviews are done and how you don't just look at the score typically. If you're, I mean, maybe if you're looking at it like on a spread, and like Sean said, like, oh, it might fall somewhere in the middle. But you look in and see what about the game they liked and disliked and go off of that. And typically people are going towards reviewers that they kind of relate with, and they go, I think this person plays the kinds of games I like, and they seem to have similar opinions to me, so I'll check out more of their reviews on other games and see if there's things I want.
Yeah, and reviewers do have to be careful because the gaming industry is getting really big now. It's one of the most profitable businesses to be in over like music and film industry. So they need to be careful scoring things correctly because it could really hinder a developer's, a developer coming, especially if it's a developer that's making a new game. They could really hinder their process in actually getting into the gaming industry. So with the likes of Nintendo, we're pretty well set within the gaming industry, being a big name.
Yeah.
It's not as damaging to score them a 7, but if it was a new developer creating a new game, bringing it to all the consoles, and IGN gave them a 7, it could really hinder their process. So there definitely needs to be a standard because it could stop people, new developers bringing new styles of games into the gaming industry.
Yeah. It almost feels like we should maybe move away from scores because that might and I've seen a lot of arguments for this online where people are like, this is why we shouldn't have a numbered scoring system because it's inconsistent across the board, and if you have a different reviewer do it for the same company, you're getting very different perspectives, and I can kind of see where that's coming from, but at the same time it would be nice to have a quick way to look and see.
I mean, the movie industry still uses a star rating, so you still get and things like if you Sky TV for one, their movie, they have a rating system on their movies of stars. So, and that's, you need to have a rating system of some description, otherwise people aren't going to be able to make an assumption if they're going to like it. It's unfortunately that's the kind of characters and people we are. We think, oh, that's got. You go to buy something on Amazon and you're looking at the customer average star rating because then you know whether or not the product's okay. So you're going to apply to everything. So
and I actually like to look at the lowest reviewed things, especially on Amazon, and see why they're giving like 1 or 2 stars, because a
Yeah.
lot of the times they're for like stupid reasons that don't really make sense, but other times they have some actually pretty good insight as to why you might not want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the score by itself to me really doesn't mean much. You got to know why. They have to explain why they gave it that score and the things they liked and didn't like pros and cons list. I think is really helpful in reviews.
And everybody's a
definitely.
critic. So your review is going to be like scrutinized, which is funny because I mean, at the end of the day, it's an opinion, and people coming in and scrutinizing it as being wrong or whatever. It's just funny because it's like, well, it's hard to make a good game review. You got to play through the entire game. There's a lot of work that goes into that kind of thing, especially for a group like IGN where there's a lot of eyes on the stuff they do. So, well, let's move out of the review section and talk. We got a couple extra news items here. One that my wife was very excited about. Stardew Valley's 1.5 update is out on the Switch right now. That dropped just this last week, and there's a lot of stuff added. Animal Crossing people need to take some notes on on this update because this is what Animal Crossing needs. So, Stardew Valley got a brand new farm setup where you can be on the beach. Your whole farm can be built on the beach, in addition to a new island that you can travel to and have a new farm on with new NPCs and new types of plants, with new side missions and all sorts of new gameplay. I'm not exactly sure how you get to the island, but they have like he's also put in like quick shortcuts to get around to places faster. So kind of streamlining a lot of the character movement and adding like an entire new island where it's supposedly like a resort that you're going to work to fix up. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I'm not the Stardew Valley expert. This is all secondhand information from my wife. But
sounds very much like what Animal Crossing needs.
yes, yeah, it's what I've been saying. Like they need to put a boat on the dock on your Animal Crossing island, and you go to a new island, and there's more stuff to do there, something like that.
It's the streamline process that they need to work on, which I think we're set to be covering later on. There's a good question that you've got from the community, so I'll save the juicy bits for that later. But yeah, they definitely need to. Those things sound like they need to bring to Animal Crossing.
Some little quality of life updates.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm surprised so Stardew Valley is selling very well. It's always up in the top sellers for the Nintendo Switch, and I'm surprised how much work they are putting into it. I believe it's just a one-man development team. I'm surprised how much work he's put into updating this game with free updates, because I mean, he's had a lot of content, and I'm like, is the sales it must be, the sales must be justifying putting in just more and more free content.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if he's ever going to stop.
Yeah, it seems like
he just keeps coming out with these pretty big updates.
Yeah, well, he did a big update with multiplayer and local multiplayer. Yeah, it's crazy how much additional content that game is getting. So, and this is from an indie team. So I think he's setting a really good example for what a lot of big studios should be doing.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how well paced those updates would come out if he got a bit more backing from somebody to put some extra manpower into things like that.
Yeah, that is a good point. If he was like if it was a full company working on it, if these things would be coming out like crazy. I don't know. It seems like they come out often enough as well that you'll go, okay, maybe I could start over from the beginning and try out this new farm layout. So they're timed very well, it feels like. Well, that's it for the Stardew Valley news. And the last bit of news is we've got a Pokemon concert. Surprise announcement with Post Malone doing a virtual concert for Pokemon. And they have him walk in, and he kind of turns into a digital character at the very end of the trailer. And it's kind of weird looking. I'm not going to lie on that. I'm like, Post Malone is not what comes to mind when I think of the number one children franchise in the world.
No.
But maybe, and hey, everybody could be a fan of Pokemon, so maybe he's a big fan. He's about that age that would actually make sense. He was big into it as a kid.
Yeah, I wonder if they kind of draw, because from the Pokemon movie with Detective Pikachu, I absolutely love that scene with Charizard in the disco.
In the club, yeah.
In the club, yeah. So whether or not they took quite a lot that we can use our Pokemon to make things interesting. So whether or not they use a similar kind of setup for the music, the Pokemon that were like blasting the music and stuff, I can't remember their names because
Loudred is the
Loudred. I'm gonna say I'm a Gen 1 Pokemon fan. So anything above that, the first 150, I kind of lost count.
Yeah, it's understandable.
It's pretty difficult now with over 900 or something.
Yeah, he's gonna do the Poke Rap. It's gonna be a 20-minute long song.
Oh,
all 900.
Yeah, I was wondering, are they just gonna run through all what like the opening theme songs, or not quite sure what music?
I don't know. I can't imagine it not being cringy. Unfortunately, like I like everything I picture in my head. I'm like, this is probably not going to be that awesome, but who knows?
I'm waiting to just be blown away, and it's going to be awesome. But yeah, they got to do that Poke Rap.
Yeah, him rapping and Katy Perry on the backup vocals, because they also have Katy Perry somehow involved with the Pokemon.
I had not heard that
anniversary. Yeah, it's just these weird partnerships, and they seem very music oriented. So I'm wondering what's going to happen. It's going to be a new Pokemon Masters CD or something. I don't know.
I don't know. That's I'm gonna have to check this out now. I'm gonna go and look for the trailer after this.
Yeah, I definitely did not see it coming at all.
Yeah, it's very weird. So I believe that virtual concert is set for either the 26th or 27th of February, and I wonder if there's going to be announcements tied to that. There's the rumors.
I'm hoping
circling around of a Diamond and Pearl remake.
Just give me Pokemon Sleep.
Pokemon Sleep. I think they forgot about it, man. I don't know.
I hope not. I've been waiting for that to fix my sleep schedule for like 2 years now.
Yeah. Pokemon, come in and help us out here with our sleeping. Well, while you were talking about Detective Pikachu, in the realm of live action movies, we're also getting a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie has been announced for April of 2022.
I can't wait. I love the first one so much. I think they did the hype with that, and they did a really good job of fixing the
Sonic.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, they did really well. The voice acting for him, they chose a really good person that could carry his voice, and it sound like it did in the cartoons as a kid. And the integration to the real world, and then using Jim Carrey as the Eggman, and the last scene in the film where he's in the mushroom world, and that's just
have you seen the movie?
I have actually not seen the movie. I've been like meaning to, and I keep forgetting.
I've not spoiled too much. Just the last scene
worry.
With him is
Andrew
fantastic.
Already spoiled a little bit on the Discord.
Did I?
Potentially. I'm not actually 100% sure if it's really a spoiler, if I just haven't watched any trailers.
But
I did see a little bit that got me a little hyped up for the second one, though.
Oh, because of the character. Well, that's in the trailer. It's pretty
Okay.
teased hardcore in the trailer that Tails will be in Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay, excellent. Guess
Um,
not that much of a spoiler then. I just haven't watched too many trailers.
it'll be interesting. There's also rumors that Knuckles will be in it as well. See what
Well,
Yeah.
happens.
you see, I can't. The opening scene with Sonic where he gets chased out of his own world, out of into Green Hills. I believe they are. It's not Knuckles, but they're the same. I can never remember how to pronounce the name of his animal correctly.
The
But
Echidna,
Hedgehog or
I
Echidna?
think.
Echidna? Yeah.
yeah, Echidna. That's the Echidna's chasing Sonic
Ah, yeah.
in the opening scene.
I
That's that
really
track.
gotta watch that movie. I keep like planning on it and then just forgetting. One of these days, I am going to get it from Redbox. Watch it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's one of the better video game films, and I am excited for the sequel because they set up. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they did set up a lot with Doctor Eggman looking like Doctor Eggman. That's in the trailers, but
Yeah,
yeah, and with
because that's what I
Tails.
was a little disappointed at first when I was first watching the trailer. I was like, oh man, he doesn't look like Eggman. But then there's that one scene. It's like, oh yeah,
Jim
that's what I was
Carrey.
hoping for.
Jim Carrey. I know a lot of people are like, oh well, he's just being Jim Carrey. Well, Doctor Eggman is
It's
like a
It's a quirky,
classic.
weird.
Yeah, he's a classic Saturday morning cartoon villain. And Jim Carrey personifies that pretty dang perfectly. I know you a lot of people are like, well, he's just Jim Carreying the role. I think that works really well, actually. It doesn't feel not Eggman to me. And I am excited to see what they do with it because he was kinda unhinged by the end of the film. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
see.
what people have got to remember as well is Jim Carrey probably played a lot of Sonic as a kid, so being able to be involved in the role. So I know that's like why Ryan Reynolds liked doing Detective Pikachu because he
yeah,
enjoyed Pokemon as a kid, and his kids like it. So it's good when you can get an actor that feels that way towards a movie that wants to be involved.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I also just hope they give him kind of a stomach pouch to give him that nice egg look, nice little round.
See what they do there. That would be interesting.
I'm
They
hopeful.
did give him the crazy mustache, so
Yeah.
And the
well,
goggles.
well, let's move out of the Nintendo news and into the next segment of our show, which is the rumor mill. And we don't have much to talk about by way of rumor because we had so much news to cover. But let's talk about the rumored Legend of Zelda show that was confirmed to have been being worked on.
And then
That's
canceled.
that's kind of all old news, old rumor. But what I wanted to talk with you guys about is the concept and idea that Nintendo canceled that because a leak occurred. Do you think that Nintendo behind the scenes is canceling things that are getting leaked because they're getting leaked?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a little bit of damage control. If something gets leaked, it's kind of like that's it. We're going to stop now. When
Yeah.
thanks, you can blame whoever leaked it for the stopping of that process. But then I also sometimes believe that they like to build. Nintendo, it's a really good thing where they feed you some information and then hold you until like everybody's like setting small fires off everywhere for like how hyped and amazing they want this to be and that to be, and then they drop it on us and then everybody's blown away. So Nintendo got a really good marketing process like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a picture, a meme of it's Fred from Scooby Doo unmasking a villain, and he's like, "Let's see who's been behind all of these leaks," and it's Nintendo underneath the mask. They're like, how much is purposely leaked to drum up excitement? I really don't think a lot of what gets leaked I don't think is intentional, but it does make me wonder with the news of them canceling the show because of leaks. I think there is more going on than that, but
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that they just straight cancel something just because it was leaked. Like there have to be at least be some other reasons for it, and that might have just been the final straw.
yeah, I'm wondering how many other projects have been rumored that were real at some point, like Star Fox Underwater, and let's see what were some of the other really big ones. There was that huge one for Smash Bros. You remember that one, Micah, where everybody believed the roster had been leaked for Smash Ultimate, and then I was totally wrong.
Yeah. Although there were a couple iffy things on that roster that made me question it for sure. But
yeah, I just wonder how many behind the scenes projects have been canceled, because with stuff like the recent Giga leak of last year, they found code examples of Pokemon potentially trying to be an online game, like a massive multiplayer online game, and things that people have wanted or have been like rumored for a long time were in development at some point and then scrapped. So
yeah, well, I mean, just because things are being like prototyped and tested out, I wouldn't really say means it was in development. You've just been testing the waters a little bit. What maybe wasn't quite working out the way they wanted. So probably didn't really get very far into the development process.
yeah.
It's like the original Metroid 4 information. It's like, did they release that? And then obviously the panic that it wasn't going the way they wanted it to go, because it was Metroid that they stopped all production and restarted, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, is that planned or is that not? I don't know. You never know with Nintendo.
I know it could have all been part of the plan. No,
what would have been great is if they did that and then they're like, just kidding, and then released it like 3 months later.
That would have been like 12 months ago now.
Yeah.
I do think that they are very careful with their IP, and I'm grateful for that, because the stuff that they put out is quality. With some exceptions, but pretty much everything that Nintendo produces and releases itself is a very high quality product, and they really are careful with their IP, and I'm glad that they are. In the end, I think it benefits us as the consumer.
I think the Wii U era kind of taught them that they need to be a bit more careful, and they need to focus more on what they're really good at doing. So, I mean, as much as I didn't play the Wii U, I've obviously listened to a lot of Nintendo dads to realize, and other people kind of hit on the Wii U and badger it a little bit, that they focus on making a great bit of hardware, which is fantastic, and then the software to go with it. So the fiscal numbers are only showing that how well they're doing that.
True. It's yeah. I can't say it better myself. Well, since we don't have much to talk about for rumors, why don't we move over to our community corner? And with the community corner, we do have some awesome questions out there. We got to start with Dan from Retro Logic, who asks, "Why is Sean so darn good looking?"
He's a liar.
Got any tips for us?
Tips?
Please.
Yeah, work nights, have 3 kids. That loses your hair. No, I don't know. I lost my hair at a very young age, so it was like 18, 19 where this just stopped. I used to have hair like you, Micah, when I was like younger. Yeah, I used to have a fine head of hair, and then suddenly it just stopped.
Oh, it's gone.
So, yeah, well, the world couldn't handle
too kind.
The world couldn't handle
unfortunate.
They had to take a little bit away,
But to be fair, having long hair is kind of the worst. It's like it's in your face all the time. You have to use like way more shampoo than if your hair was short. It's
very true.
I'm just real lazy. I just wait a really long time to get my hair cut, and then I get it cut, and I was like, "Oh man, this is great." I should have my hair short all the time.
Yeah,
I think Dan was just being too kind. I think sometimes he likes to give questions that put me a little bit on the spot because that's his personality is like Dan's great. I absolutely love him. So
yeah, he used to be. He was one of the original members of the.
He was our time pirate. So he was the one that would jump backwards and forwards for events and stuff, and gives us heads up and deliver with some pretty good information. So, but I think the starting of his shop, his online store, Retrologic, and then how often he's posted, because he is very active on Twitch and YouTube and things like that. So I think he just needed the time to give to that, which it was sad to see him go from DadCrossing, but at the same time, he's doing really good at with what he's got going on. So
yeah, Borderlands killed it for him, I think. I still give him a hard time about Borderlands. Yeah,
though apparently some Borderlands information, which I know Dan will probably like this. Jack Black is apparently to do the voice of Claptrap in an upcoming Borderlands movie.
Yeah, I just heard that myself.
I did not know that. That's interesting. Wow, that'll be great.
So
that'll be great.
Jack I don't.
He's a brilliant character as it is. So
yeah, I don't foresee this Borderlands movie not being rated R though. So
no,
I don't imagine it being suitable for little kids. If you're planning on taking your kids to that, I don't think that will be a good idea.
I don't think the game is really suitable for kids. So
yeah,
no,
yeah. Well, anyways, let's move out of that question. Thanks for submitting that, Dan, for putting Sean on the spot. We appreciate you putting our guests on the spot. We do it every episode with our closing remarks, so obviously we have fun with it. Let's move to, we've got a question from $2 Hero, who is Seth from the All N podcast. Says, as New Horizons approaches its first anniversary, what are some quality of life improvements you'd like to see finally worked into the game? He gives some examples here. He says, I can't believe they still haven't worked on things like bulk crafting, multi-selecting in the Able Sisters, etc.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like you were saying with the Stardew Valley update, getting the quality of life updates he was getting for streamlining how you handle your character and things like that. Animal Crossing definitely needs to do it. I mean,
yes,
bait is the biggest thing that I see on like the groups on Facebook that I'm part of. Everybody wishes they could make more bait quickly rather than having to do individuals.
Especially the bait is what gets me every time. Yeah. It's like, well, I guess I'll make my 100 bait now.
I want to be able to
2.5 hours while watching a movie.
Can we not just buy bait out of the shop? I mean, for real. I don't want to do all the clam digging. It takes so long.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's also something else that I can see coming. That you like CJ, the third Able sister, bringing the high fashion item, clothing items. There's lots of things with the NPCs that I believe they can do more with. So CJ could do your bait and tackle shop, which he could set up in the island, and you could buy. It'd be a bit pricier than maybe what you'd want it to be, because you can charge whatever he wants. He's got everybody stuck on an island. But, yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, definitely quality of life.
Animal Crossing capitalism. Love it.
But not just bait, but when you're trying to like make fences and stuff like that, if you've got enough product to make 10 times the amount that it would make for one, why can you not do that? So there's lots of button mashing. So like the A button on my Joy-Con could soon need replacing.
Yeah. I just mashing that while watching something.
Yeah. When I went the quest for the golden axe, the amount of times I pressed the A button, I was trying to start counting it, was getting close to like the mid 2000s. So that's crafting the axes and then breaking the axes. So yeah,
it's crazy.
It was a lot of button pressing. As for the events, also at DadCrossing, we've got a couple of things in the pipeline which I'm not at liberty yet to discuss, but there is things happening behind the scenes at the moment that are will be coming out. So that's as much as I can say for that from us. But from the game, definitely need more cross game interaction. So we're hoping Mario is just the start of it. So it'd be nice to see Zelda.
Yes.
And other games. So it'd be interesting to.
I just want some Pikmin thrown in.
Pikmin
I think
would
that
actually
would
fit
be really
really
cool.
well. Yeah.
Some nice Pikmin Island or something.
I was thinking like a costume. You just put that on your Mii.
Oh.
Your Mii. your villager. Yeah.
And then I don't know. There's lots of things like other islands you can visit. So expand on Halves Island, that you can do a bit more on there. Because I know in Pocket Camp you could do a little bit more with Halve than you can do in this game. So there's lots of things they can do, and I reckon there's lots of things that they've got lined up, because the last couple of updates have brought new reactions. With the Snow Boys, the interaction of being able to kick the snowball around, they could integrate that and make it so you can kick like the footballs and stuff around. So there's lots of things like they could do. There's lots of things they could choose not to do, because this is Nintendo and we can never really predict what they're going to do. But yeah.
Something I would like to see, to answer Seth's question, I would like an upgraded island designer, having to use the shovels to terraform. That's the word I'm looking for. An upgraded terraforming. Yeah. It's so slow and monotonous. I almost wish that instead you got like a map and you could raise and lower things on a big map of the island, just to make it a little easier to experiment with things. Because if you want to try something, which this is how terraforming has always gone for me, I'm like, oh, I want to try making like a big waterfall type thing here, and I try it and it looks horrible because I made it super long and didn't make. And to undo all of that, I'm like,
it's a lot of work.
It's not worth it. Yeah, I would love to see either some more automation to the existing tools, or just an easier terraforming mechanism.
I want curved edges. I'm absolutely dying for curved edges. So being able to make like a curved bit of cliff face or a curved bit of water for the streams, that's just what I'd like. So
yeah, that would be really nice to do have a little bit more customization, because it is very linked on a grid system.
Yeah. And then I think one of Nick's bugbears is your custom design paths. You can kick those up, even if you put them down through the Island Designer app. So when you've got the hard hat on, you can still kick up those paths. And that's Nick integrated his daughter into his island, so she could. Because I think
paths.
Yeah, so he says once a week you have to go around and relay paths and things like that she's kicked up, and Nick's kind of like.
That's where that 600 hours is coming from. 800 at this point.
He's over 1,000 now.
Oh, wow. Man, it's been a while since I tagged in with see where he's at. Man, yeah, it's those things are definitely things I'd like to see.
But how many hours would he be at if he could multi-craft bait? I mean, probably close to just like 500 hours.
Yeah, definitely
500 in just bait creation. Multi-crafting and multi-selection tools, or being able to skip certain dialogue. Like, it shouldn't take me 15 minutes to get on a Dodo airplane. I mean, airport security is tough, right? Yeah, I get it. But this is Animal Crossing. I don't need real life wait times in my game to get to someone's island. Ugh. Yeah, that's some stuff.
Being able to post more than one item at a time as well. That's
yeah.
Yes.
It's like, say I wanted to send you a collection of furniture that you were like, oh, I really like that. I'd have to go through the Dodo process each time to send each piece of furniture, and it's like,
and we're not that good friends.
It's easy for you to go through that. Yeah, it's easy for you to go through the dialogue once to come to the island, to pick it up, to go back, wait for the loading screens if you're coming into the island, than it is to send each bit individually.
Yeah, I would like a. Uh, they have the bank card in City Folk on the Wii, so that you wouldn't have
Yes.
to have your money stacked with you. Bring that
Yeah,
back.
I did
That
that.
was
I did that the other day. I got Red appeared on my island for the first time in ages, and he had a painting that I didn't have, and I only had 900 bells in my pocket. So I had to go all the way back to the plaza to get the money out to go all the way back to Red. And I was thinking, why can't I have just
used my
paid you from the
card.
card?
Or your phone. You got the phone. It
Yeah.
just tap it like
There you
Apple
go.
Pay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on, Duck, get into the 21st century.
yeah. That's a good answers to this question. Thanks for submitting the question, Seth. And then the last question, I think we'll wrap up our show with this last bit here. Let's talk about our favorite games for relaxation on the Nintendo Switch, or just Nintendo games. It doesn't have to be exclusive to the Switch. What are your top 3 relaxing Nintendo games? Um, Anybody ready, or I can start?
Um,
I'll let you start.
yeah,
Okay.
let you start.
So for sure, I've got to say Animal Crossing: New Horizons. It hits with the soundtrack and just what you're doing in the game to just be very chill. There is almost no point where I'm feeling anxiety of any kind unless a tarantula's chasing after me.
Or even worse, it walks behind a tree and you can't find it again.
Yeah, other than that, the game is just so chill. Everything about it's just kind of designed to be almost therapeutic.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of the we say it often, but they definitely, unfortunately, they dropped onto a pandemic that made everybody stay at home and play this game
Yeah.
because it was definitely a release for everybody in 2020.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I really have enjoyed. This is kind of a cheater answer, but I really enjoy doing some of these puzzle games like Tetris, and Panel de Pon. I I enjoy just doing these kind of calmer puzzles. With one I want to highlight specifically being um, the Pillar. I've talked about it a couple times, uh, where you're just kind of walking around this atmospheric area and doing little puzzles. It's it's one that I think hit a tone of game with me that I haven't hit for quite some time. Where I'm just like, this is just a good way to unwind. Video game to unwind and relax while playing. And then besides that, I'm trying to think of another title.
Yeah, I don't really play a lot of relaxing games, I'm finding out right now.
I'd say for me, while you have a little bit of a think,
Yeah.
is definitely Animal Crossing. The Especially after I've got the podcast with Nick, it used to like the early hours music is really nice. The acoustic guitar in the early hours of music is fantastic. So that's that. And the other one I like to play to relax is I like to just go into Breath of the Wild, and with no objective at all, I'll just set off. Oh, I've not been to that section of the island or the world for a while, so I'll set off in that direction and do some climbing. And like again, the Breath of the Wild music can be quite chilled as well. Because one of the playlists that I like to listen to is it's called Zelda and Chill on Spotify, which is a
Oh
lot
yeah, those are
of
great. Yeah, listen to
yeah.
those.
So there's somebody's actually done a full playlist of all the Animal Crossing time music with like chilled hip hop background as well, which is really nice. So it's like taking chilled music and making it even more chilled. The last one is Mario Odyssey. I like to I've like played that game to absolute end. I like to go into the Mushroom Kingdom. I like to go up and get Yoshi because he's my all-time favorite Mario like character in the
Yes.
Mario series, and just basically run around and do silly things with him, like use his tongue to climb up trees, and just basically I can take my brain out and play as Yoshi in a 3D open world of
So
Mushroom Kingdom.
you're a big fan of Metroid and Metroid Prime, and your favorite character is Yoshi. Are you and Micah like long lost brothers or
Yeah.
something?
For real.
It's like Micah's. That's like
Oh.
describing Micah's Nintendo experience to the T.
Yeah, I loved Yoshi's Story as a kid, so that was like I only had maybe 4 SNES games, and Yoshi's Story was one of them. So
That's a great game. Yeah.
Crafted World, when that came out, I loved that.
I did think of my last game I wanna hit on. I wanted to say Pokemon in general. I enjoy. They're a very simple RPG. That doesn't require. There's not a lot of stress to it, and it's got very relaxing atmosphere. But specifically for a game that I will play to relax, and I'm looking forward to an upcoming sequel, is Pokemon Snap. And that game is about as I mean, you're just on rails. You're taking pictures of Pokemon. There's not a lot to it. The music's really chill and calming, and it's all about it's an experience more than a game to me. And it's hard to capture that and describe that. I know a lot of people are like, what is the fun of this game? My wife does not get it. She doesn't understand why I want to get the sequel.
Wow.
I like the interactions, the throwing the fruit to interact. I liked that as a
to see what they'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to throw my wife under the bus. I know a lot of people feel that way. There are a lot of people that I mean that you listen to as part of the you guys are in the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. I don't think any of them are planning on picking up the game because they're like, I don't understand. It's not nostalgic for them. But
I think you know someone.
I bought an N64 specifically for Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and Pokemon Snap. That's the only reason I went out and
it's
spent
up there with the big two: 64, Ocarina of Time, and Pokemon Snap. Yes, I mean, those are up there with
just those 3 games easily justify a purchase of a 64.
Yeah,
and throw some "Hey You Pikachu."
That is not a relaxing game. That's a game where you are getting very frustrated.
Pikachu, pick the Oddish. Pick the Oddish. Pikachu, pick the Oddish. Thunderbolt. Just roast it. What are you doing?
Pick and kill are very easy to mix up.
Yeah.
Be very careful what you say to your Pikachu.
Oh man.
Micah, do you have any you want to hit on for your top?
Oh yeah, I guess I gotta go with Animal Crossing. I haven't played it in a while, but there was something oddly therapeutic about digging up clams in that game. I always had a crap ton of bait because I don't know why. I just loved running along the beach, digging up clams. So that was how I relaxed. Although I'd usually also be watching something at the same time when I played that game, but half watching, I should say. Besides that, I guess probably the next most relaxing is Doom and Doom Eternal. Just something very relaxing about getting dropped into hell and just hordes of demons trying to murder you, and you got a chainsaw. And no, but actually, I've been playing a 1,000 Year Door recently, and that's actually it's been pretty relaxing. Some of the battles are pretty intense and they can be close and they're difficult. But there's just like the dialogue. A lot of that's just really funny and just a good way to unwind. But yeah, I'm struggling to think of a third game I played to relax. I mean, I guess I kind of got to agree with you, Sean. I mean, Breath of the Wild, just running around to explore for exploring's sake. You don't have any sort of like deadline or goal in mind. That's pretty relaxing and nice. I spent a lot of time doing that.
The atmosphere and the missions surrounding the different cities. So if you go into the different cities and talk to the people and do all that stuff, it's almost a different game than when you're in Ganon's Hyrule Castle.
Yeah,
fighting Ganon.
I don't know if it was Ocarina of Time, but anything to do with Azoras, just I stay away from in Zelda. I mean, it was in the whole water temple from Ocarina of Time. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like horrific.
I thought you were gonna say
The
the,
remake-
music
the remake-
puts you to sleep, because that's like my
No,
favorite, the Zora's Domain.
The remake for the water temple in Ocarina of Time for the 3DS made it so much easier to complete. I can't do the N64 version without a guide. Even now, it's just
Yeah.
that's the stressful part of Zelda. So anything that kind of reminds me of the water temple, I stay away from.
Yeah, I guess, but Breath of the Wild's fun and relaxing when you're just wandering around until you walk over a hill and there's a Lionel like 14 feet away, pulling his bow back to shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game has a lot, breathtaking atmosphere. I'm excited for the sequel to see how they trump that.
Yeah, I'm real excited for this supposedly more, at least from the trailer, seemed like more like cave-like, almost a catacomb-ish area.
Yeah, that will be interesting. We always talk. We have it's in our contract to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4.
Prime 4, yeah.
At least once an episode. Can you tell we're excited? We're excited. Well, that about wraps it up for what we have going on here today for the Nintendo Pals podcast. Sean, do you want to give a plug to your stuff? You not only do podcasts, but you also have your own streaming and TikTok, right?
That's true, yeah. So we'll go with the podcast stuff first. So anything to do with DadCrossing, you can find and contact me and Nick anywhere. Just go for the handle of @ndadcrossing. As for my streaming channel, that's twitch.tv/Sean W. Abbot. That's mainly at the moment is Call of Duty. I am looking at trying to expand the horizons when I get a bit of a following base, but as for now, because I thought about doing a little bit of Little Nightmares the other day, but yeah. As for the TikTok, that's @Sean _Abbot, and that's basically just comical aspects of Call of Duty that I've done. I kind of like bits and pieces of great shots from myself or absolute accidents of me getting mullered, which happens quite a lot. They all end up on there. So, but yeah,
I'll put links to that as well in the description of the show for people to be able to find you guys. Definitely check out and sub to the DadCrossing podcast. They are my favorite Animal Crossing podcast to listen to. Actually, the only one that I listen to. So, but they are great. Yeah. Well, if you would like to, speaking of subscriptions, leave us a like and subscription on your podcast listening app of choice. If you're watching the video version of this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, as we are trying to get to a point where we can do live streaming of these episodes, and we need a certain subscriber amount to be able to do that. Also, I need to put in the work to get that all set up. So I'm glad I've got a little bit of time, but I'm expecting just a flood of subs. So definitely hit us up with those. You can find us on pretty much any podcasting platform, and you can follow us on Twitter @NintendoPals and on Instagram @NintendoPalsPodcast. Also, please join up our Discord. That is open invite to all, and we definitely have a fun community there where we talk all things Nintendo gaming. We also have quite a bit of discussion on board games, and probably soon start up on talking books that we're enjoying. That was what we were talking about before this, the pre-record for this. We were talking about more Brandon Sanderson books. So yeah, check out our Discord community. Links to all of this stuff is in the description of the podcast or the video if you were watching that. And man, I guess we'll start to close out here. Thank you so much for coming on, Sean. We really appreciate you adjusting your schedule.
Thanks for inviting us.
And speeding home so that you could be on.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave us with a closing remark?
Yeah, it's kind of a hit at what Dan said. To keep the youthful complexion, eat, sleep, rest, repeat.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It's good.